What's going on YouTube? For the next session of Trash to Treasure, I have some boxes here from a box that I've broken down from Misfits Market. And this is not sponsored, but I will leave information in the description box if anyone is interested in it. They mainly ship to like the eastern portion of the states. Some of the Midwest, but not much yet. They've been helpful for me during quarantine to keep fresh fruits and vegetables in my pantry, and I just in my refrigerator, and I just wanted to mention that that's where this box came from. And just in case anyone is interested, I will leave a code for a discount. But what I'm going to do is take this box and break it up into 6x6 pieces. Okay, so I've got my 6x6 inches of my cardboard cut out. I cut them out with a guillotine. I hope I'm saying that right. Guillotine trimmer, in case you're wondering. That cut it pretty much smooth. Um, I don't keep mine out on my table. I have little hands around my house. I have to keep that up because that is an accident waiting to happen in my house. So I just cut those up all 6x6, and then here you can see me taking off that layer there to give me that corrugated look. So I'm using distress ink. I didn't like the color that I really wasn't seeing anything in it, so I kind of mixed it with some brown ink so I can give it an effect. Didn't have the color that I wanted here. And I could have done both sides. I just did the one side because I really just wanted it on that corrugated side there. And I pretty much covered the other sides of them around the corner, so you really don't see too much of the background. But when I make this again, I probably will go ahead and do the back side too. So first of all here, I'm just showing my layout. I'm trying to see as far as on the left piece there is going to be my cover. I'm trying to see how far I need to move out. This hinge system is just going to start off with one section, one measurement, and then it's going to go down as you open up. It doesn't need to be as wide. So the first measurement is going to be 1 1/4. So the thing that I'm doing here is I'm just measuring that out first and seeing how much space I'm going to need. Now, for the first time doing this, I did cut my ribbon out longer than needed. I wish I would have done that on the straps, as you can see later on. But here, I'm just going ahead and cut off some ribbon. And then I'm going to take it and make my first hinges here. So I'm using fabric tack as usual, especially with first time doing a project. The glue gun, if you want to work with the glue gun, if you're more of a pro, go ahead and do it. I like fabric tack because I like the liquid glue. I can pull it away and it's maybe leave a little glue residue that's going to dry, not like the glue gun, which can end up ripping your cardboard, ripping your tearing up your scrapbook paper. So if you need to move it or redo it, so that liquid glue is going to give you a little bit more leeway. Or if you just decide you don't like what you did, you can kind of rub off the glue sometimes, the liquid glue. So I'm putting that on the back side of the cover here. And then I'm going to flip my middle portion here because it was easier to see where I'm going to put it down at if I flip it over. So as you can see, my straps were a little bit longer than I needed, but a little bit longer, you can always trim up. And if you make it too short, you're kind of out of luck there. especially when you got paper that you're going to cover over it and there's no way to get in there unless you rip up your project. So here I'm measuring on the 1 1/4 line there. And getting my glue put in. And I'm just cutting off those strips and trying to keep everything lined up there. Okay, so now that I flipped it over, as you can see here, that is the top, the front, and then that's the middle. So the first hinge is done. That's the 1 1/4. And so now I'm turning over to my right side and I'm going to do my 1 inch. We're going down in 1/4 increments here. And so I'm just doing just like I did with the other ones. I'm gluing down the right side here on the back side of that. And then I'm going to flip that over. You can see it's totally on the other side, but I'm doing this so I can keep and see what my measurement is and then keep it on the back side, as everything is going to be glued down on the back side of that middle piece, as far as the left, the front, the right, and the left. So just keeping up with the measurement there, as you can look at the bottom of the screen and see I'm keeping up around that 1 inch, and then gluing down and pressing there. Okay, and now I have the 1/4 and then the 1 inch. And so I don't get confused here, I'm just going to take a pen. It doesn't matter because it's going to get covered up. And then I'm just going to write down the front side and then the right side. And then I'm going to write down 1 1/4 on the front and then 1 inch on the right. Okay, now I'm just going to scoot this up and then look at the bottom, and then we're going to go down to 3/4 of an inch. And I'm going to grab some ribbon and I'm going to do the same thing down there. I looked at my scrap pieces there and I still wasn't secure, so I ended up cutting another 2 strips of ribbon just so I know that I have enough. And as you can see, everything is in its right place here because I'm just going to cover that right on the front. But then I'm going to flip it over when I do it on the back side again, just as I did the other ones. Okay, line it right back up, as you can see, at 3/4 of an inch. And stacking those up all together. Pressing that down, and then once I got that good, I was ready to do my last side here. And that one is going to be a 1/2 inch. And so since it's the last one, I just started out and went on and used those scraps because I knew that it was not going to need that much, and just glued down Start it from the back here. And then once you have that across, you can kind of line up those so they can kind of be even, perpendicular to the other. Okay, and then now I'm flipping that back up and ready to turn it over so I can see, just so I can still make that 1/2 inch mark. But you can see that one was very easier to put down, and then make sure I kept within that 1 inch range. So now I'm putting on one of my straps to close. Kind of lining that up somewhat in the middle using that glue. And this is going to go on the back of the right side there. Now I'm going to flip that over, and then you can see that there's my front cover. And I'm going to do the same thing on the inside of that front cover, and I'm going to make some straps, and I'm going to glue that down. And once I have that glued down good, I'm just going to close that up and let that dry for a bit. Okay, now that I got my straps on and I've got my book pretty much put together there, I'm ready to start on the cover, and I've just sped this up because the book is pretty much put together now. It's just all about how I want to decorate it. So on the inside flaps here, once you open it up, the top and the bottom, I put a little booklet inside. So the first thing I did was added some lace at the bottom. And I should have trimmed this up really good at first. I just kind of left it because I didn't want to get all my hands all sticky, and then I let it dry. But I ended up cutting my ribbon once I did my trim. Don't ask me how it happened. It just happened. Once I got my lace down, I put a backdrop of paper, and then I ended up cutting some twine and then securing it with a little piece of scrapbook paper. Once I got that, I started to make some little booklets with some coffee dyed paper. I coffee dyed some paper, and I have a little stash to go through here, and then I'm struggling with putting a signature in there. You won't see me doing that because that is not my thing, guys. I struggle with sewing, even hand sewing. You don't want to see that. So I'm just trying to tear off the pages here for a little non-traditional look. I kind of like the traditional look with straight edges in my crafting. I'm not the best at having that sort of torn look and distressed, but I'm working on it. So now that I got my little booklet done and my pages torn, I'm going to go ahead and put a little embellishment on the front of that and glue that down. And then I'm going to get my twine and tie that right up and secure the little booklet inside. And then I'm just going to do the same thing to the top. And here is my final result. I think it turned out beautiful, and this is a lovely way to use something that I was about to throw away, a box. So here is the front cover, and I love this Maggie Holmes. I used this in another project recently. I love that little cup of tea, and that says beautiful. And you can see here I use this, says hello in the background. So hello beautiful here. Then I use some of this black and white ribbon, and I added some of the bling trim on the outsides. As you can see, my bigger hinge, my 1 1/4 is here on the cover. And then I just made these for tags. I put this the opposite way so you can see the little silver trim here. And then the gold here. And then I also added some more tags here. And they could be embellished any kind of way. And I added, it says life is lovely. This is some backdrops here. And then I added this little torn booklet here. You just untie, as you saw in the tutorial here. And then I did another little matte frame here, and it has a little date drop here. Focus, people, focus. There we go. And then delight in the everyday moments. And then I have this other little torn booklet here. Also unwraps another matted frame there. And then, let's see, let's do this right. So we have the shorter mat here. And then I think this one, no, there we go. This one, and then there is the back here. So I love how this turned out. The only thing, I always tell my mistakes, I don't try to hide everything. The only thing I can say is that I like to, when I put on lace or things like that, I always like to put it down first and let it dry, and then I go back and trim it up. And then when I was trimming, I forgot to think about my ribbon was there, so I actually cut it off in 2 places. So I had to put that back on, glue that back on there, and I got to make sure that it's pretty secure with binding. So I want to go ahead and, yeah, I probably want to go ahead and put some heavy duty glue on that. But this is a lovely, lovely little journal. I love how this turned out. Alright, thanks for watching, and see you later, Craftinistas.